Hey,
Good deal.
you almost hit 4 digits. That's good. Ready?
Oh!
Hey. They're cheering for Mopar Judy.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show. Live from racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show. And your host, Roland Villa, and co-host, Rich Combs.
Hey, all right. What a show we got going on today. We got a lot of stuff to cover. I'm Roland Villa, my co-host, Rich Combs. Hello, buddy.
Hey, good
How
morning.
you doing? Lots of racing going on, and then we've got somebody over here in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle.
The middle.
Yep.
He's trying to get in the middle of the county dais, too,
Oh,
right?
my
No!
gosh. Yeah. You're going to start with that.
No. This is Randy Dye, ladies and gentlemen, and also known as Mopar Dye. Mopar Judy out there, and we got Mopar Dye. That's part of it. Or actually, we could call you Alfa Romero Dye.
Hey, there's a lot of stuff that people call me these days, so it's all right. Yeah.
That's really true. We are here today to discuss racing, and part of that racing has to do with some of the personal stuff that Randy is up to. We'd like to say hello to Miss Pat here in the audience. Hello, Miss Pat. How are you? Yeah. She's got a racing shirt on. That's why I was picking on her. She's got a good sponsor shirt on. We're going to talk about something that's really near and dear because he is just now getting acclimated to the ground again. Mr. Dye just got off a jet from
Bristol.
To come here to do this show, and I'd like to personally thank you for doing that. Now, you were in Bristol, the half-mile track for the Craftsman Truck Series race. Why?
Yeah. Well, my 20-year-old son, Daniel, made the playoffs. And I do want to say thanks to Pat because Pat's company, Champion Container, is the primary sponsor for our effort. And she's a huge race fan, by the way, just in case you didn't know. It's not just being a sponsor. I mean, she loves the sport. But we made the playoffs. Had a good first race. Really was doing well last night, but ended up with a mechanical failure that caused a tire problem, and so now we're sitting on the outside trying to get back into the 8 that move on. We'll be in Kansas next weekend to try to move up. We went from 9 points in to 7 points out, so we got to get busy.
So is that obtainable? How do you get 7 extra points? What do you have to do besides winning?
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, obviously you can win and qualify your way into the next stage that way, or you just got to take a look at who's the next guy in line, and say, okay, I've got to finish 8 points, 8 positions, or a combination of positions and stage points ahead of that individual, and then you move on to the round of 8. So I think we like Kansas. Daniel spends a lot of time in the simulator working on stuff, and the testing has been good, and he likes the racetrack.
Kansas, we're going to, right?
Kansas Speedway, yeah. And actually, it's a dual weekend for him. He'll run the truck race on Friday, and then the Xfinity car on Saturday.
And the Xfinity car, big news coming here within the last month about his plans for next year. Tell us about those.
Well, yeah, so we've had a 10-race schedule this year with Colleague Racing, and it's kind of been just to make sure that we think we've got a driver that can do that, and they're a good organization, and they said, hey, look, he's doing a great job. We'd like to do this all next year. And so we talked about it, worked on it. It's very tough because the organization that we're with, MHR and the Truck Series, is such a quality organization. Great equipment. In spite of this mechanical failure that we had last night, I'm going to say there's only been a couple of those all year. This was not very good timing, but they're a great organization. They have a culture of winning. They have a culture of growing drivers, and Bill McAnally is a great guy. And so it was a terribly difficult decision. And
But Bill actually supported it.
he does. He understands his role. He is trying to develop drivers and groom them. I will tell you this, and I have no offense to colleague, we love him. But if McAnally had a Xfinity program, we would stay. That's how good we feel about him. So, it's been an interesting journey for Daniel. Started in a quarter midget at 8 years old, and
In New Smyrna.
Right.
Right.
Yep. We raced all over the country. So he's not. He doesn't get intimidated by going to different locations or different environments. He really is. He likes all that stuff. So it's been a fast move, a fast pace, and sometimes I feel like I'm just trying to catch up, man. I'm just it's like being a couple laps down and trying to see how to get back on the lead lap. That's for me.
Well, you've been a little bit busy with your stuff too. Let's talk about his experience at New Smyrna. Did he ever race a late model on the half-mile high bank there?
He won the Pro Late Model Championship in, I'm going to say, 2021. I'm pretty sure that's right, 2021. He ran super late models. He's every time we've attempted to qualify for the Snowball Derby, we've qualified into the race.
That's a big deal.
That's really big.
That's just qualifying is an accomplishment.
One year we qualified fourth, so that was pretty special. Great place. That track will absolutely eat tires off of a race car. I mean, there's no. I don't know if I've been to a racetrack where the fall off from qualifying to racing is as much as that place.
Yeah, it's really a struggle to continue to go, but that's part of the characteristics that you have to learn as a driver. He's still in a learning curve.
Oh yeah.
Is the simulator really valuable to him?
He says it is. They have both a static simulator and an active simulator, so kind of like just sitting there and you're not moving around like you're in the car, but you're really what you're doing then is trying to see what the changes you might make at the racetrack would look like. That's kind of how you plan. It's not so much are you trying to go out there and see how fast you can go. It's really about how I'm talking about the simulator. It's about when they decide to make a change, how will that behave? And so they kind of get their game plan together. Yeah. The active simulator. If he says that once in a while he gets motion sickness on the active simulator. So I don't.
That's how real it is.
It's very real. Yeah, it's very, very real.
Well,
Yeah.
as you know, I have a young son. He kind of followed me into politics. No matter what I tried to do, he still did it. And now your son is almost doing the same thing, following into that. But as you know, when your son is trying to do something, the best thing you can do is leave him alone and let him get it done. And that's basically what my son Chris and I have done. How about you and Daniel? How much of what Daniel's doing is you, because you loved racing when you raced yourself?
Yeah, I've loved racing since I was a little kid. I mean, I remember going to the dirt track where I grew up in Northwest Pennsylvania, as 3 and 4 years old. And, the Blaneys and I mean, I could go with Jan Opperman and all I can go on and on and on about those all dirt track people. So in my family, the culture is racing. I mean, we have a racing culture. My dad was the first one that brought me to Daytona in 1976. And ironically, Daniel was on the racetrack for his very first ARCA test at Daytona the day that my dad passed.
Oh boy.
And but it was a tough thing, but appropriate.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you know, I don't know that you could have scripted it any better based on somebody having to go. So I think for me, for Daniel, it was what I've tried to do with my kids is here's this whole smorgasbord of things you can do, and then you just sort of pick. Now there's 3 things that we made that still today, from the time we started quarter midget racing, was okay. We got to have fun, we got to learn, and we got to get better. And you can't do them one at a time. You got to do them all at the same time,
simultaneously.
And as long as we can continue to do that, we'll we'll take this as far as it will take us. And
speaking of that, Daniel's sister, your daughter, what is she up to?
She's thank God she's helping me run the dealership. Yeah, she's. I think she's probably the most competitive one of all of us. She's lethal in a competition. So.
And she's dangerous because she's a really nice-looking young lady, a blonde. She appears on television for you. And, oh, my gosh, how do you say no to her?
Well, here's what we've learned to say to Nikki. And Pat knows her real well, too. But so my nickname for Nikki, and you guys that watch TV, is Beth.
Beth?
Beth.
Okay.
You know where that's from?
What?
Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nikki is Beth. Yeah. Yeah. That's
don't make me go Beth on you.
Don't make me go Beth on you. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So your family has been involved in the dealership, in what's going on. Daniel, does he have the intention of continuing to climb the ladder within the NASCAR community?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's on the way over here. We had a talk. You can't talk to a race car driver about a race right after a race. Mm-hmm. That's a bad idea, right? That's never a good idea.
He was not a happy pilgrim last night.
No, I mean, he did what he needed to do, but we understand. We talk about a team sport, and the goal there was to get enough points to put ourselves in position. And he was doing what he needed to do. So, but stuff happens. That's racing. It makes stuff breaks, and so he was. But to your point, his comment was, "This is all I want to do," and he works really hard, not only racing, but on the physical fitness part, on the mental part. He studies. He watches film. He understands situations, and so yeah, he's totally committed. And however that takes him, again, got to have fun, got to learn, got to get better. And if you do all those things, the stakeholders, the sponsors, the people that are in the sport, the fans, they'll gravitate to you, and that'll keep you moving forward, along with your ability to go out and do a good job on the racetrack.
One thing that has been to his benefit. In staying in shape and getting out there and running is that he has shown a consistent, better record as he's going along. He's getting better, and that makes a huge difference there. And I know the concern is jumping from trucks to Xfinity. Can you continue on that drive? Tell us about the Xfinity team that he's going to be joining.
Well, Colleague is a great organization. They have an alliance with RCR. Richard Childress Racing, on the same campus with Richard Childress Racing, so they get a lot of the engineering help. The engines all come from RCR, so we share data with RCR, yeah. Again, like I said, this 10 race schedule with them was really kind of a. Just keep yourself looking at, because these two vehicles drive completely different. A truck does not drive like an Xfinity car. And in fact, there's one of the concerns that a lot of the garage area has in NASCAR is if you get a driver that's in the truck series too long, they have a really hard time making the switch. Sure. And because the truck is kind of a high downforce, big wide front end, and so it's reasonably stable. And so you see a lot of guys just, I mean, like at Bristol, used to, they drive it off in the corner, and the Xfinity car has a little more like a pro late model or super late model. It moves around. It's not quite as welded to the ground as a truck. So we were just trying to not get so rooted in the truck that we couldn't make the move, and he's done well. A sixth place finish at Indy. Never saw the racetrack. Well, he took a parade lap and a quarter midget around Indy back in the day. But so to go there, no pre-practice, just the day of, qualify and race and finish sixth.
And that was on the big track.
That's the big track,
not the road course.
No, it was incredible. It was incredible, to do that. And actually every place he's been, even in Michigan where we got wrecked out by another driver, he was the fourth fastest car on the racetrack through all the data. You cannot imagine. When I raced, we went and raced and we talked about how it felt.
Stopwatch.
Now they've got all this data, all this telemetry, all this stuff. Tells you where you're good and where you aren't good, and how you compete, and what's the average, 10-lap average, and it's so much to digest. But so that's turned into a full season next year with Kaulig.
That's good. What will his car number be next year?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So we've been friends with the Petties for years and years and years, and we've run the 43. It's an honor. It's also a lot of pressure, but it's an honor.
Because it's so visible.
Yeah. We're working on doing something in Phoenix that sort of acknowledges and thanks and show appreciation for the 43. But next year in the Xfinity Series will be the 10.
10. All right.
Yep.
Well, if you can stay in the top 10, that's an important thing.
That's a good
too.
one. Yeah, you go.
You got to, speaking of staying in the top 10, we got to pay bills. That's part of it. Beach Boys Embroidery. They do our shirts. They've done a lot of graphics for us. We sure do appreciate them. Folks, stay tuned. We're going to be back with Randy Dye, Rich Combs, and I right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. Let Aloha Marine get you on the water with huge discounts on great brands like Bayliner, Carolina Skiff, Hurricane, Key West, and Regal. Pay as little as $169 a month with 10% down and approved credit. Don't wait. Get to Aloha Marine, 1700 North Nova Road, Holly Hill, Monday through Saturday. 47 years and always better than boat show prices. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Roland Villa, and co-host, Rich Combs.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. Our special guest today, Randy Dye. Mopar Dye. There we go.
Yeah, I've been sitting here very quiet.
Yes, you have.
I'm listening to a great story, and you know what I think of is, man, what a dad, what a manager, what a friend, what a help. You know, I tried racing something like this and making the steps up through SCCA and around, got to a pro level, but I never had a guidance counselor that I hear you talking about. You're doing such a great job. It didn't come to you normally. It came from the fact that you raced before. Tell us about your racing.
Yeah, I mean, it started late, for sure. You know, for me, it started kind of, I guess, where we made a real effort at it. Not long after we bought the dealership on the International Speedway Boulevard way back in the day. So that was, we actually opened in September 1 of '97.
Did you buy it from Peacock?
We bought it from Peacock,
Yeah.
Peacock and Brendan Hurley, and so we called it Speedway Dodge.
Yeah.
And if you'll remember, it was a kind of an old building, and we just sort of themed it with the Speedway mentality, and so it seemed like the next thing to do was we need to get a race car and be out there racing. And what started out to be just let's just go out and race at New Smyrna took us around most of the Southeast. I never raced any. Well, I raced a dirt track in Pennsylvania, but mostly Southeast. And we fortunately we had a really good I guess crew chief / team. Wayne Graham out in Samsula.
Oh yeah.
He built great race cars, and he knew what he was doing, and he took a know nothing like me, and turned us into a race car team and a race car driver, and we won a lot of races, and we did it all
Yes.
all in Mopars, Mopar bodies and Mopar engines when there wasn't a spec engine, when we were able to use the OEM, and it was tough because Dodge was not really they didn't have any technical support, engineering support, and so we were kind of doing it on our own.
You were a Lone Ranger.
We were the Lone Ranger, but it was good, and our stuff, the Dodge stuff, was heavy, so we had to figure out how to. It wasn't like putting a Chevrolet engine in there. We had 100+ pound disadvantage in the front end, and almost 150 pounds really. But so we got to be pretty good at it, and before you know, we built a quarter midget track, and it shifted. I was old. I was never going to be a professional race car driver because I started too late.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun, and we won a lot of races, track championship. Some set a track record here or there, and it just was kind of a natural thing for me. I love it. I love the sport. In terms of, by the way, you're talking about how I'm a guidance counselor or so on for Daniel. The racing community is probably one of the best communities there is because they tend to come together. We're a family, and people. I have learned so much from so many people in this sport about how to do and how not to do, right? What you don't do.
Gee, we could make politics that way.
Oh,
if
boy.
we only could. Never mind.
Yeah.
Back to your racing. So was it part of the idea of Daniel to start the quarter midget track?
No, actually, that's a great story. Mark Martin. Back in the day, and the Cup weekends used to start essentially on Thursday. These guys are all going to wherever the destination was, leaving on Thursday, getting to the racetrack. You remember you had a lot longer practice sessions, and before you finally got to race. So Mark's son Matt was a quarter midget racing, but the only place to do that was at Apopka. And they were doing it on Friday nights, and on Friday night Mark was someplace else. He couldn't get to see Matt race, so it was driving him crazy. So he said, hey, through another friend, a guy named Jim Neves, he said, do you think you can figure out if we can build a quarter midget track someplace? So, wow, look, yeah, I'm sure. That's the kind of way it went.
Yeah.
And so what happened, I got a hold of the Hart family, and I said, hey, we got this idea. What's a quarter midget? And, I said, well, there's a national organization. And I thought we would end up either up in turn 4, outside the racetrack or across the street,
Yep.
and we would do it there. And they said, well, what do you think about doing it down in turn 1 and 2? I went, oh, man, that saves a whole bunch of work. And so before you knew it, I laid the track out with 55-gallon drums and paint, spray paint. And of course, I had longer straightaways, and then we looked at the National Quarter Midget Racing Association, and they had a very specific track size and shape, and so I had to start over again. And before you know it, we had most of our community donated. Valvoline was Ashland, the Ashland company. Valvoline is a division, and Mac Asphalt was a division. So they came.
A Mark Martin sponsor.
Well, he was done with
okay.
them. Yeah, he was. Right. He had already gone to that little blue pill, but they participated, and then there's a company over in Ocoee that brought all the dirt, did all the grading, and we had fence work donated. Tony Stewart and Mike Skinner, remember the Home Depot and Lowe's, they donated all the material and paint. I mean, it was an amazing project.
Great.
And before you knew it, we had a quarter midget track. And then Mark had a
legitimate track.
For sure. That's 24 years ago. So Daniel was not even a thought.
There you go. Yeah. Well, he might have been a thought, but
it's another conversation.
Okay.
And now I have a grandson racing there. So who would have ever thought? And by the way, Pat Heller, if you ever go out to the New Smyrna Quarter Midget track and you see a champion container quarter midget, they take care of that too.
Well, I'll be darned.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a good story. It's once again, it shows your leadership in bringing this forward. The average guy on the street, the average family, the average community can't bring that type of thing together, and somehow with a bunch of oil drums and spray paint, you brought together a great thing and had the right people in. So I'm admiring what you've done here. I'm learning a lot this morning.
If you go out there and you see these kids drive around that racetrack, it's like, man, this is really what it's all about. And I don't know. I appreciate your kind words, but if you think about Little League baseball or soccer for little kids, we just did the same thing for racing.
Yeah.
We just gave kids an opportunity to race. So, and they do. They come from every year. If you want to go see a great event, we have the Little 500 out there at.
That's right.
And this is going to be, golly, I think year number 22 or 23, and these kids come from all over the country, and I mean we end up with well over 200 at New Smyrna the week right after Christmas. Yeah. So and of course, if you live in Pennsylvania or New York, the week right after Christmas feels pretty good to be in Florida. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, we have the huge motorsport event of karting after Christmas till New Year's, and the world's largest participated motorsport event with all the entries that we have during that particular time. We have one of the tech inspectors back here from, there he is with the hat and waving his hand.
World champion.
Here you go.
There you go.
So, Norm, lots going on. Hey, by the way, I saw something last night on the TV watching the race that I think it was last night, but the series that NASCAR now owns is the ARCA series.
Yeah.
And your son actually had a victory in ARCA Menard series.
He won in Berlin, and he led every lap. And that was, by the way, his chief competitor in that race was Ty Gibbs.
Oh.
And it was amazing. I drove every lap of that race with him. He sat on the pole, and
were you a spotter?
No, man. There's no way I could be the spotter. I was way too emotional.
Too involved.
Yeah. And Ty Gibbs, obviously, they had their Cup program. They had everything that you would expect for a cup event, Cup pit crew, everything. And so to beat them was pretty special. Ty had him sideways one time, and Daniel was still able to pull it off. But so yeah, he was the rookie of the year in the ARCA Menard series. I think it was 2022, and finished second in the points championship.
Excellent. We are going to
Good
take another
results.
pause here. And I'd like to remind you there's still time to get down here to Racing's North Turn Restaurant and Bar. I tell you what, they've always got specials going on. There are new TVs all wound up for you. Did you notice the new TVs there, Rich?
Oh, yeah.
That's part of it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned, folks. We're going to be back right after this. Stay tuned.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's original North Turn has been voted by you Best Beach Bar Top 10 year after year after year. We're back from where it all began, Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Roland Villa, and co-host, Rich Combs.
Hey.
All right. All right, this is like the good news section of the program here. We got some good news for you folks. Guess what? This show, for over 300 episodes, has been hosted by none other than Buzz McKim. Yes. And the good news is Buzz McKim will be returning next week right here at noon on Friday.
Yep.
So we're happy to have you back, Buzz, that's for sure. Gary will be along with him, and they're going to have a good time to be had by all. So come on back and say hello and let them know we missed you, and thank goodness we got rid of that other guy as part of it. But that's not the only good news. There was some good news last night. Nope, night before it was. The Republican Executive Committee of Volusia County got together. There was 300 and some odd people. I don't know. There was,
305, I think.
yeah, there was a lot of people there. And they have their annual confab where they get together and they try to determine who they are going to nominate and endorse for their card that they mail out. And there was a big concerted effort on your part. That was really an amazing thing. And you actually received the endorsement of the Republican Party, which is a really big deal because all of the cards will be mailed out. Yes. There's a lot of people that did not vote in the other election. They'll be out there voting for Trump, and your name will be on there as the endorsement. Now, it's not just for anything, okay? Even though we could probably nominate him for Father of the Year with all the stuff you're doing with Daniel. But he is going to, he's running to be the chairman of Volusia County. And that's a big deal when you're looking at 550,000 people and all the square mileage of this county. You didn't quite, even though you're a dealership of the Dodge dealer and other ones, you still didn't know the dynamics of this county. It's far-reaching. It's really an amazing place to be. And you, along with other business people, stepped up to say that you wanted to help with the leadership of this county. That's a pretty big bite to chew.
Well, first off, thank you, and I'm really kind of humbled by the endorsement, and I'm humbled by what I've heard over the last about 18 months. Well, maybe a little bit less than that, 16 months of being out there talking to people, and the love I knew. I fell in love with Volusia County in February of 1976. I was 15 years old. and I knew this was a place that I was going to live. Somehow, I didn't know how I was going to get here or exactly when it might happen, but I knew it was a place that I was going to live. And I absolutely am grateful that I did it. I tell people all the time I'm a no count nothing redneck from Northwest Pennsylvania. That's where I came from, and that's where I grew up. And I grew up outside, and I appreciate the environment. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to be looking at a camera, and I keep looking out there because it's so beautiful.
Right.
And I don't regret it a bit. And I know that to a lot of people, including me, over the last several years, it's felt a little bit chaotic. In fact, a lot chaotic. And some of that is from, my state where I grew up. They closed during COVID. New York closed. Michigan closed. So everybody said, I don't want to be closed. I want to come to Florida. So now we've got all these people and all this stuff going on. And I think from all the stuff that I've learned over the last 64 years, hint, hint, right, I think I can help with that. And, it's really, I think it's a duty. I've benefited from living in Volusia County. It's been a joy of my life to live in Volusia County. And you got to step up. You got to help, and you got to get with people, and you got to preserve the quality of the life that we all love and enjoy here in Volusia County. And so it's not much more complicated than that. That's why we're doing it.
You have been very involved over the years. I know you and I served together on the Boys and Girls Club, for instance.
Yes.
And your dealership always donated the car to the Teacher of the Year.
That's Glenn. I was giving it to the kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you did much to figure out what in the world was going on with the youth of the county, I should say. So you've been very involved for a long time.
Well, I have, and I've never run for political office, but I think, I feel like this. A lot of us probably feel a lot like this. We've had enough politics and political solutions. It's time we get a little bit more business solutions. This is a big place. The budget is $1.3 billion. And I think a little bit of business common sense will go a long way in helping the county do some of the things it needs. So it's that simple. And I know you didn't ask me to be here for that. But
no,
I
not at all. But
and those people out there probably don't.
Right, no.
Yeah. Let's talk about right rear tires.
Right, you got it. And the deal is that, hey, it doesn't hurt to have somebody in the big chair that loves racing. So that'll be something else. And it all started right here, so that's part of it.
I want to get him to change his tagline. He's talking about being a redneck from Pennsylvania and the whole bit. That sounds good. I use the one, I'm the original barefoot boy from North Carolina. I get by with it. You need to bring yours up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where in North Carolina?
Wilmington.
Oh, yeah, the other on the coast.
Yeah.
I've got a friend that lives in Wilmington. Yep.
And
he's from Pennsylvania too, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, the Mopar shop, it goes by, hey, I won't waste your time or your money.
That's right.
Yeah.
I won't.
That's part of it. Okay, back to racing more than what we were talking about before. Then when you get to the point of racing and talking about racing, and you have your son that's involved, were you really kind of counting on your son to maybe do something more with your dealership and things like that? And is that a fallback or?
No, I've never decided what I want my kids to do. I've given them the opportunity to decide what they want to do, and along the way, there's one thing.
How many children, by the way? 3, okay.
Yep. So Nikki has been with the dealership a long time, but she took a little hiatus and went to work for Spectrum, and she did very, very well. And I wasn't mad when she left. I wasn't disappointed when she left, but there was a condition, and this is the condition I put on all my kids. Okay, number one, you have to realize the world isn't about you. Number two, you have to do something. You have to benefit your community. You've got to find something to give back to your community. And 3, you absolutely have got to do the very best at whatever it is you've chosen to do. I don't care what it is you are, but just be the best. And if you're going to go to work for Spectrum, then you better be the best. Daniel, you better get in the gym, and the coaches that you have, you better be the best. And actually, I got a call the other day that said, you can't believe how good Daniel's doing and what he's doing in our program. And I was gratified by that, not because of attaining anything. It just means that he's given his best. You know, I played a tennis match one time in my life when I was a good tennis player back in the day. It was a district final, and I mean, when I tell you I played good. That was the best tennis match of my life, and I lost. And I've never played one better since. And I've won, but that was the best one I ever played, and I lost. So at the end of the day, it's about giving your best, right, and trying to improve. And that's all I ask.
There you go. We're going to take a short pause for the cause and pay some bills here. We're going to talk about Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, and I'm going to tell you right now, there are some dealers out there that are running extra specials because we've had a hot summer, we've had a rainy summer, so some of the things have been off-putting there. I don't know how else to put it. They've got some specials on some items out there, so make sure you try it out. Thursday through Sunday, you'll find something for your needs out there for sure. Going to be back right after this. Stay tuned. More.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Daytona Flea and Farmers Market is still the one for great savings and the best variety. Whether you need flowers and trees for your home or you're looking for great prices on Daytona Beach souvenirs, the market is the place to go. The market features 1,000 booths, 2 air-conditioned malls, a restaurant, and 9 snack shacks. Hops Grill features gourmet burgers and garden blend salads. Treat yourself to a great variety of brat and hot dog creations at the Dog House, or enjoy a refreshing drink at the Seltzer Oasis. The market is open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and is 90% undercover, so you can shop rain or shine. There's never a charge for parking or admission. Enjoy our monthly classic car cruise-in on the first Saturday of every month and garage sale weekend, the third weekend of every month. See all we have to offer at DaytonaFleaMarket.com or like us on Facebook. Discover Daytona's most unique shopping experience, the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, just a mile west of the Speedway. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Roland Villa, and co-host, Rich Combs.
Yeah. All right, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you very much. I'd like to say hello to some of our friends. I haven't seen them for a while. Wolfgang, thanks for showing up. We love having you here, part of the Motor Racing Heritage Association group over there. David Sace, the same, right there. Mopar Judy in the house, along with Copa, the keyboard extraordinaire, keyboardist. That's part of it.
Keyboardist. Okay.
That's it. And there's so many people. I'll forget some people.
Well, let me tell you about Dennis real quickly.
All righty.
You know, Dennis has been playing in a band called Route 44. It's sort of a country light rock and roll band, great group of people. And they've now changed over. They've pulled in a couple of wing-ding guitar players, and they now call themselves the Honky Tonk Heroes. And they're doing hot country and rock and roll, and they'll be available. Last night I previewed a song that he just wrote. He came in, man, you can't believe. Some people have a way with words and a way to get you emotion. It held me like, I was holding my breath listening to it. It was that good. So anyway, that's a real hero in the
Honky Tonk
audience.
Hero.
Yeah. And then we've got Kathy Bridges, who you know.
Kathy.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to be helping Kathy with the Mopars at the Beach.
Mopars
coming
at the
up
beach.
next week?
And
October 1st, okay.
October 1st, 2
And-
weeks.
we're real close to having something special for her show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're all looking forward to that. A bunch of people here volunteered to help with the show and make it go. I think we're going to have a big crowd. We're going to have a lot of cars, a lot of Mopars. So we're in good shape on that.
We have a lot of clubs here in
Yeah.
Volusia County, which, of course, talk about the history of the racing and where a lot of it started. So that's an important thing, even to you.
Oh, I'm at cars and people, racing. I mean, they all kind of go together, right? Country music, honky tonk heroes for sure. I mean, that's my kind of. I mean, I haven't heard the music, but I like the name, so now I'm going to figure it out. But
It makes you want to listen.
yeah, I got to. Can I take over for a minute?
Absolutely and positively.
Okay. Well, I couldn't do that again on a bet. So I want to tell you a great racing story, and I think it's fun. The sport is so much fun. There's also a lot of times when it hurts. The loss of some of our friends in the sport's tough, but this one's fun. You remember the name of the band and the way you described it is what did this, so it's your fault.
Okay.
I was out on 44 near DeLand. There used to be.
That's where these guys are from.
Okay, so I live in DeLand. So that that motel that's it's not. It is what it is. But you back in the day, it had a pretty good group of people, and did a lot of country music out there. It was during the old 4th of July race time, and there was a lot going on, and I had different color hair then. It was not like this, and I looked a little bit like, and I was working for Ed Lacey, who was a Ford dealer, so I was wearing Ford stuff. In spite, hey, somebody get her back up off the ground. I don't. Okay. So I'm at this bar having a good time with the group, and it's racing, and it's everybody's cool, and this guy is chasing me around the bar, telling me that I'm Bill Elliott and he wants my autograph, and I'm going, no, man, I'm not Bill Elliott.
Yeah.
I swear I'm not Bill Elliott, and I said, I don't even talk like Bill Elliott. Can you, I mean, I can't be Bill Elliott.
Right.
And he's, oh yeah, you just don't want to sign my. So now I'm feeling bad because now this guy's going to hate Bill Elliott because he wouldn't sign his stuff. So I figured I'd get him to stop talking and stop chasing me. So I said, okay, what do you want me to sign?
Oh no, you didn't.
Yep. So he gives me a hat and a T-shirt, want me to sign the shoulder. So I said, okay, now we're good. He told everybody in the bar that Bill Elliott was in the bar, and it was me. And I signed autographs for the rest of the night.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yep. So here's the rest of the story. So Bill Elliott and I, by the way, are friends, but I could never tell him the story. I wouldn't tell him the story because
Did you sign Bill Elliott?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh
yeah.
boy.
Yeah. So
Stuff has been on eBay already.
yeah. So I'm sure it doesn't look like his signature.
No.
So Bill, we're at the NASCAR Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and I think it was the night that they were inducted Davey, and so I was sitting with Bill at his table, and they all got their NASCAR Hall of Fame jackets on, and it's all very formal and nice, and so I said, I mean, it got to me. My conscience I couldn't hold it back, and so I told him the story, and he thought it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. So this is before we're live on TV, right? And so now they're doing the announcements, and they're going class by class, the different groups that they've been inducted, and they're getting to his class, and he looks at me and he says, "You stand up." Like I said, no, I said, I'm going to leave. But that's a true story.
Did
Bill
you
Elliott
stand
said,
up?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I didn't stand up. People would not have understood that.
That's funny.
Without all this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you want to hear the best Bill Elliott joke ever?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm originally from Atlanta, up on the north side near Dawsonville. And, of course, people pick on folks from Dawsonville and make fun. And Bill Elliott's out in the community. You'll see him at a Mexican restaurant,
sure.
and you'll sit down and talk to him. The joke is that one of the local guys there was walking down the highway, and Bill Elliott was walking the other way, and they met each other. And the guy had a sack over his shoulder, and Bill says to him, "What you got there?" He says, I got a couple of chickens, and if you can guess how many, I'll give you one. And Bill says, 3.
A couple of chickens, 3. Alrighty then. Where's the? Who's got the drum set? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Well,
I like it.
I mean, that's just
I understand.
local humor from Dawsonville.
Hey, when we get back, one of the big things of contention in NASCAR right now, at the highest level, charters. I would like to hear your take on it when we return. We're going to take another pause. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Living Legends of Auto Racing radio show.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. You're right in the middle of all the action. Daytona International Speedway, the airport, One Daytona, Florida's newest entertainment and retail destination, and of course, the world's most famous beach. You'll love our newly remodeled 1- and 2-bedroom suites, along with our popular King Studios. You won't need your full kitchen, as Homewood Suites Daytona serves up complimentary breakfast and evening social. It's like home away from home. Go to HomewoodDaytona.com for Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Roland Villa, and co-host, Rich Combs.
All right, here we go. Now, you're around one level of racing, the Truck Series, and you're moving into the Xfinity Series. In the Cup Series, the big bone of contention nowadays has to do with charters. Do you have an opinion on the charters and what's been going on with some signing, some not signing?
Well, I think if you look, most of them have signed. I think there's 2 organizations that have not signed. I think if you think about what where the sport started, we look out here, and you think what a business it's become, and over the years, when you've invested in racing and race shops and equipment and all that sort of stuff, and you've got a race team,
Yep.
and at some point in time when you decide you don't want to have a race team, you kind of take what you've spent and you divide it. You take about 80%, maybe 85% of it out, and say that you got 15%. That's about what you're going to get left, right? So I think the charter system is not a franchise, but it's a plan to provide value to the teams today, and it's also a way that they get compensation from the whole sport, the
Right.
TV contracts and all the other things. So is it ever going to be perfect? No, it's not going to be perfect. But you've chosen, this is what you want to do. And so I think you got to remember that this is, you can have influence, you can talk about the things that are important to you, but I kind of look at it like this. You got Rick Hendrick and you got Roger Penske, both, by the way, incredible business people.
Right.
RFK, which is Jack Roush and the Fenway people, and now Brad Keselowski, Richard Childress, who probably is the most pure racer there is in the sport today, because his wealth and fortune has come from this sport.
Right.
He didn't do it in a different way and bring it to the sport. He did it through racing. So when you have those people who sign the agreement, it tells me that by and large, I'm sure there's things they would like that they didn't get.
Yep.
But the definition of fair is you got what you wanted, some of what you wanted, and you didn't get some of what you wanted. And the same for the other party. And that's how these things come together. So I think the charter system is by and large a good thing. I think it's something how you can plan a business around, you can build a business model around. And we're always going to want more, but I look at the majority and I look at who those people are and say, if they signed it, they by the way, they've done they've had their conversations mostly privately,
Right.
and not in the news. I'd say yes, and I think it's if you look at the sport, you look at the 7-year contract, TV contract with the CW for the Xfinity Series
Right.
next year, and the 7-year contract for the Cup Series. This is a business model that's working.
Well, you have to think about the private conversations made with Jimmy France, which really comes out of the old school and what happened. And it'll all work out in the end. They have the product. They have everything set in place, and it'll be settled. It'll be NASCAR's way or the highway.
Well, I'm going to tell you something else about NASCAR, and I'm going to go back to COVID for a minute. You know, NASCAR is one of the most entrepreneurial group of people, creative thinkers that there were. You got to remember, when COVID came, the very first organization to shut down was the NCAA basketball tournament. There was no basketball to be played, right? And then if you think about all the other organizations that went, we're not going to play the game, we're not going to put the easiest sport to have competed in during COVID would have been golf.
Right.
You don't have to have anybody there.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're we can be 20 feet apart from each other easily,
Yeah.
right? But the one who brought brought sports, live sports, back to the world first was NASCAR. Okay, they did live events, not with people in the stands, but they created their own bubble.
Yep.
Everybody knew there was testing that was going on, and they brought back the first live sports. And I think they don't get enough credit for that. I think it was incredible what they did. They also, in that period of time when there was nothing going on, they figured out how to do esports on
Yes.
TV, and people paid attention to it. You know, better than anybody. Better than the NFL didn't do it. I mean, I'm an NFL fan, Pittsburgh Steeler fan, no doubt, nothing, redneck from Northwest Pennsylvania. But, you know, they're bright thinking people. And so maybe you don't like every piece of it. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I disagree with the decision they made on Austin Dillon and Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin.
We talked about that, yeah.
But in general, I think the charter system works.
That's for sure.
Well, you hit it when you said the business model. And people forget, the fans forget that it's a business. They think it's a sport, and there's no money changing hand. Nobody's making an investment, and they're trying to collect on their investment. And in a dynamic society, you're going to change your business model to suit what's there. And we're seeing that. But the old guys, look, legends of racing, every one of them think this is not the way to do
Right.
it. All the new guys say, hey, it's on TV. We're going to see it 5 times if we want to. That's the new model. You're on it. We're on it. But the contention is old to new. But
Well, there's a lot of people. You know, we're all kind of resistant to change a lot of times, right? And I know that like flying, you know, it's a different event than it used to be. But at the same time, generally I get on a plane and feel a little safer than I used to.
Yep.
Right? Pat, how do you feel about flying?
Yeah. 2 thumbs down, not just one. And I was going to ask Miss Pat. She's out here now. She's typically done the lunch for Racing's North Turn. She's finished, and there's still some left over. So she's got a bag sitting there, and she's got a container in it. You know what question I'm going to ask? Is that a Champion container?
Well, but
It is, because you own it.
we got to work on that. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I want to learn more about Champion Container. I'll talk to you when we get done here. We got about a minute and a half left. And
Okay.
thanking you, listen, there's nobody in this county busier than he is right now. He owns multiple car dealerships. He's got a son that's fighting for his life in a championship round. And you show up here helping out Roland and Rich over there.
Well, you guys, you've been a friend for years. This place is spectacular. And shame on me, because every time I come here, I feel the same way. I just don't get to come here as often as I want. And but thank you for having me, and thank you for the audience for participating and listen to us ramble and interrupt your lunch and all that stuff. But it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Well,
Well,
we
thank you.
appreciate you being here, that's for
Thanks
sure.
for being
You are absolutely a champion in my mind. Remember, November
Fifth.
5th, it is. November 5th. It's that kind of day. Big day for America, not just Volusia County.
Amen.
It's going to be something else. We appreciate you folks being here with us today. We appreciate all of our sponsors, Beach Boys Embroidery, Racing's North Turn, Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, and Homewood Suites by Hilton with a great breakfast. Oh, I just like your breakfast. We got to start having more meetings. Okay, we're going to be back again next week. Here's the good news, folks. Buzz McKim arrives again to be your host along with Gary.
right.
Take care. I've enjoyed being here.
The Legends of Racing Radio Show. From the very spot where beach racing began, racing's original North Turn.